Welcome to this Mint troubleshooting training session. This course assumes you've completed the Mint Network Administration Phase 1 and Phase 2 training sessions. That means you already understand Mint user management, Mint network and partner administration, Mint link configuration, Mint application and role setup, and basic Mint configuration tasks. During your company's day-to-day operations, you may need to troubleshoot issues within Mint. Sometimes it's difficult to know where to start. This course will go through some basic areas you can check first. In order to access most of the functions described in the course, you must have these roles for the Mint application: All Transaction Owner Admin, Manufacturing Customer Expanded, and Manufacturing Customer Standard. In this session, I'm going to give an overview of the Mint message flow. We'll then take a look at B2B errors, transform errors, troubleshooting best practices, and finally how to open a support case. This is a high-level diagram explaining the transaction flow from the sender to the receiver of the transaction. In this example, the sender is also an owner of Mint. The transaction originates from the sender owner's ERP and received by Opus via a B2B connection created on XTT AWS. The transaction is then transformed into a canonical. The inbound canonical is passed through the post-processing transform. Canonical to UI mapping is done. An important point to note in this slide is how different elements come together to complete a transaction and potential points of errors. At what point in the process did the error occur? This is the most important troubleshooting question. Before trying to resolve an issue, you should first identify where the transaction failed. If the file does not appear in Mint, the issue may be on the inbound side, such as B2B setup, file format, inbound transform, or post-processing. If the transaction appears in Mint but does not reach the partner, the issue may be on the outbound side, such as outbound transform or B2B delivery. Review the 5 common error points shown on the slide. Inbound B2B errors, map-in errors, processing errors, map-out errors, and outbound B2B errors. Each error point requires a different troubleshooting approach, so you should always review the error message and confirm the stage where the failure occurred before taking corrective action. Let's take a look at B2B errors. You sent a file, but it doesn't appear in XTT B2B messages. If it was sent through SFTP, please verify the exact subfolder where the file was placed. The most common reason a file doesn't appear in XTT B2B messages is that it was uploaded to an incorrect subfolder, even if the SFTP upload itself was successful. For example, if you're sending a purchase order, the file should be placed in the assigned folder, such as Inbox MPC Purchase Order. If the same file is accidentally uploaded to another folder, such as Inbox MPC Advanced Ship Notice, then the file may not be picked up or processed as the expected transaction type, and it might not appear in XTT B2B messages as anticipated. Please confirm whether this is your first time sending a transaction through SFTP and whether the same SFTP setup has worked for you before. If the file was placed in the wrong subfolder, please upload it again to the correct assigned folder. Then check XTT B2B messages after the normal processing time. B2B error scenario 2. If your file doesn't appear under Process Network and Mint, please first check XTT B2B messages to see whether the file failed with the error message Recipient Network Node ID null. This usually means the receiver link setting is either missing or doesn't match the identifier type and value received in the file. To resolve this, please review the receiver link setting and make sure the identifier type and identifier value match the file exactly. If the link setting does not exist, create it. If it exists but has a different identifier type or value, update it, then resend or reprocess the file. I'm now going to show you how to update the receiver link setting. From the main menu, Go to Extensible Trace Link Transfer and B2B messages. Let's take a look at this message type. Here we can see the error code. B2B could not resolve process network. So to update the receiver link setting, we go to Administration under the main menu. I've already got an Administration tab open, so I'll just select this. Go to B2B Integration and Link Settings. We'll select the entity partner. And here you would need to check that the company or location ID is the same one as mentioned in the transaction file. If not, change the company or location ID. Ensure that the company ID or location ID entered here matches the corresponding value in master data. To validate, we go to XTT B2B message. We click on the failed transaction. We click into the failed transaction and select Reprocess. B2B error scenario 3. If your file does not appear under Process Network and Mint, please check XTT B2B messages to see whether it failed with the error the X12 document could not be read from the incoming file. This usually means the incoming X12 file format is incorrect. To resolve this, please validate the file using an EDI validation tool such as Steady EDI Inspector. After correcting any X12 formatting issues, resend the updated file for processing. Now on to transform errors. Transform error scenario 1. Your file was successfully received and identified by XTT. The failure occurs at transform processing step. In this scenario, the error code is B2B transform failed. The system could not find a valid transform version for the inbound 850 transaction. The transform set associated with the B2B connection does not include an inbound transform for the sent file. This means the inbound file was received successfully, but the system could not process it because the required inbound transform is not available in the transform set linked to the B2B connection. To resolve this issue, review the transform set associated with the B2B connection and confirm that an inbound transform is configured for the 850 transaction. Once the correct transform is added or updated, resend or reprocess the file. I'm now going to show you how to add the inbound transform. Once again, in Extensible Trace Link Transfer, go to B2B messages. I'm going to select this message type. And here we can see the error code B2B transform failed. Now for the resolution. In Administration, under B2B Integration, go to Transform Sets. Click on the relevant transform set. In this case, it's this one. And select Edit. Under Transforms, select Add. A push panel will now appear. Select the application, in this case, Multi-Enterprise Information Network Tower. The message type, this is a forecast plan. Direction, inbound. Catalog, global. And transform name. Note that the transform version auto-populates. Then select Apply. Then you would save this. You would then go back to XTT, B2B messages, find the failed transaction, and reprocess. Transform errors typically happen when the data in the file doesn't match what the transform expects. This could be related to missing required fields, values that are not accepted, or formatting issues in the file. The first troubleshooting step is to read the error message carefully. In many cases, the message gives a clear indication of what caused the failure. For example, it may point to a missing field, an invalid value, or a formatting problem. Next, confirm which transform was used. If multiple versions of the transform exist, make sure the file is being tested against the correct or latest version. If similar transactions have been processed successfully before, compare a successful file with a failed file. Look for differences in the data, structure, field order, required values, or formatting. This comparison often helps identify the issue quickly. You can also test the file in the Transform Executor using the latest Transform version. This helps validate whether the issue is with the file content, the transform logic, or the version being used. Now on to troubleshooting best practices. This slide is a mental checklist you should run through before making any configuration changes. First, ask yourself what role the user plays. Their role determines what they should see and what they should not see. Many issues are simply role mismatches. Next, focus on what the error message actually says. Do not rely on the user's interpretation. Exact wording often points directly to the root cause. Then, ask at what point in the process the error happened. Did it happen at login, during navigation, or while performing a specific action? This helps narrow the administration area to investigate. If the issue worked previously, identify what's different now. Think of recent changes such as role updates, app enablement, or network configuration changes. Check whether the same action works for other users. If it does, compare roles, permissions, and network access between users. Finally, pause and ask yourself if you have considered all possible causes before acting. This moment of reflection prevents unnecessary changes and repeat incidents. Now, how to open a support case. Now that you've attempted to troubleshoot the issue as an administrator, there may be situations where the issue cannot be resolved at your level. In such cases, you may need to raise a support case with TraceLink. Next, we'll review the steps to open a support case. In Opus, in the header bar, select the support icon. If your company has access to the Customer Success Portal, this opens your company's portal where you can log in and create or manage support cases. If you don't have access to the Customer Success Portal, the support icon takes you to the TraceLink Global Support Request page, where you can submit a support request form. This functions as opening a support case. Scroll down to open a support case. To help us start researching the issue you reported, please provide the details within the description field of the support request form. Application, for example, company administration, mint, etc. The impact of this issue on your business operations. Whether this is a new or recurring issue. Duplication steps. What are the detailed step-by-step instructions you perform to cause the issue to occur? And any additional information you believe is relevant to help us work with you to resolve or answer questions related to this case. This brings us to the end of this Mint troubleshooting training session. First, I gave an overview of the Mint message flow. Then we took a look at some B2B errors, some transform errors, troubleshooting best practices, and then how to open a support case. Thank you for your time today watching this session. If you have any questions, please email tracelinkuniversity@tracelink.com.